Hello, welcome back to the John Muir Library. This is another edition of Spotlight on the Library. Today we're going to be looking at and learning how to do basic online searches. And we're going to find some strategies that will help us find what we're looking for. This is a guide to be used when searching on Encyclopedia Britannica. You can find hard copies or paper copies of this guide at the reference desk. Using keywords is also important when searching websites. First, you should define your topic and make sure that when you're searching, you're not searching full questions. Try your keyword with such terms as and, or not. Hello scholars, as we're talking about effective searching, I wanted to show you one more element of the John Muir catalog. Before we looked at basic searches where we focused on keyword, title, author, subject, and series if we were looking up a series book. But in this episode, we are actually discussing advanced searches or effective searches for information. And one way to effectively search information is using Booleander's logic. So what those actually means are there are certain words that help us add information or not include information in a search or saying one or the other. So for example, if I wanted to find a book on cats and dogs, the keyword would be cats. And then I could choose and dogs. And I could look at this and say, do we have any of those types of books in either the San Francisco School Library or our John Muir Library? Let's first start with John Muir. So it's cats, dogs, and so we're looking for both these things in one book. There's a book called Cats versus Dogs. So that tells me that this has both topics that I'm looking for. Another way to search, if I go back to my catalog, is or, meaning I don't want the words connected. So I want a book either about cats or about dogs, but not both. So let's see what happens on that. Cats in my search, dogs. Now, I have to click or. All right, so let's see what happens when we look for cats or dogs. Do we get books that only have one of the topics? Dogs. Oh, look, here are two nonfiction books both by the same author, Gail Gibbons, and they're both available in the John Muir Library. And this one's about cats, this one's about dogs. This book means that because we use those search engines or search words, this book will not have dogs, it will only have cats. And that's important when we're doing research. Let's go ahead and look back to our catalog one more time and see what happens if we go to not. Now, I only want books about cats. And I don't want any dogs in them. So let's find out what happens now. Cats. And I do not want dogs. That's not true. I really do love dogs. But we're just pretending for our sake of our search. Dogs. And I do not want those. So now we're going to search again. Ooh, I got some different results. But as you notice, there isn't a single book that has dogs in here. So all the other books that came up in our previous search with dogs are gone. All the books that came up are cats. And so this will help me with my research and help me define my topic. One last thing I want to show you on our our catalog. There are a few things that are very interesting down here. If you know the range of Dewey Decimal, you can place it in here. Place it in here. Circulation types is what types the book can be checked out. But the one thing I also thought was interesting that if you click here, then when you get your search results, it will also check our online resources as well. So I hope and or not has helped you seeing how you can change what you're looking for by using those important words. Here are some other important tips for effective website searches. 1. Use websites that are recommended by a teacher or an adult. Click on sites that you recognize as a research foundation. Start with the school's databases. These are excellent resources. We'd love for you to use them. If you end up with too many sources, that means you need to refine your search. Thanks again for tuning in to Spotlight on your library. Today we learned about how to have an effective web search and what keywords were. And we also learned about and, or, and not to help us get better information and better results when we are searching. Thanks again, and stay tuned for more episodes of Spotlight on the library. And we soon will be discussing how to get help.